The Sutherland Sharks men have created arguably the best roster in NBL1 East history, and their 4 wins and 1 loss record reflects that. With stars like Kouat, silky smooth shooters like Luke Jamieson, and stars like Spurgin and Hutchinson, the Sutherland Sharks are truly stacked. Meanwhile, for the women, under a new head coach, hasn't been the start of the season that they may have hoped for. But you can never write off the Sutherland Sharks, who just a year ago scrapped and clawed their way, well-deservedly, into a grand final. Welcome to 2 Feet in the Paint's Sutherland Sharks review show. Hello and welcome Sharks fans, welcome fans of the NBL1 East. This is 2 Feet in the Paint's review of the Sutherland Sharks, and wow, always a great season for the Sharkies. They won a remarkable program down there in the Shire, and I think that's really been reflected this season with the talent they've managed to acquire on both rosters. But before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's supported the channel, supported these videos, or supported us on Spotify. We really appreciate all the kind messages and all the love we've been receiving from people all around the basketball community. This, of course, isn't our full-time jobs. We have other jobs on top of this, so we try to do as much as we can, and the support really helps us. So don't forget to like and subscribe. We don't have a Patreon or anything. We're not asking for money, so if you can just like, subscribe, and share our stuff around, we'd really appreciate it. So let's get into it, starting with the Sutherland men. As I said in the intro, a 4-1 record, and they have just come out of the gates firing. And of course, we got to talk about Kouat. He's had a instant impact for this Sutherland Sharks team, already averaging 18 points per game. Maybe not on the percentage we would have hoped for, but I got to say, I think it's a bit of an adjustment period when you go from being the 6th man on an NBL roster, 6th man of the year, not to mention for the Sydney Kings, to a starter playing heavy minutes and having the offense pretty much revolve around you. It can be a bit of an adjustment. And Kouat, I think, is an unselfish player. He's a player who's looking to make this team improve. And we actually had a chance to talk to him after the game to talk about a few of these things. Over to you, Garland.
Sweet, we're joined post-game, Kouat, Sutherland Sharks. Unable to get the victory on the road, but what did you take away from this game?
It's our first loss of the season, so there's a lot of areas we can work on. So we'll just go back, watch film, correct on the stuff that we could have improved on, then just come back better next game.
You got a ton of experience on your resume, played in other conferences in the NBL1. What do you see the difference in play style in this conference?
The East is a little bit more physical. The players can get away with a little bit more. But I like physicality, it's all good. Like I said, I just learn from it and get back better.
What's it like playing with your boy Shaun Roger? I know he's part of the Kings program and you got that familiarity, and Angersburg as well. What's that connection been like translating on the court?
It's been great, we've been on the same team during practice with the Kings, so our chemistry is there. And just to see him out here, putting up numbers and improving, I think that's the best part of, just seeing him progress.
What's your message to all the young bloods on the team, trying to get their minutes or trying to get their rotation or trying to find their footing on the team? What's your message?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what position you are on the team. If you're coming off the bench or a starter, you can be valuable to a team. So don't feel discouraged when you come off the bench or whatsoever. Just keep working, man. Keep your head up, and your chance will come. Just keep putting the work in. I
know you put in the work in the gym, always spending time on the shooting machines. What are you trying to prove this season to a lot of scouts or people watching?
Just bit by bit. Just teams are gonna, throw different stuff at me in the next NBL season. My coverage is gonna be a little bit different. So, just implementing a little bit more things to my game, nothing too much, but, just improving on some stuff, decision making, 2-foot jump stops, pushing in transition. I think that can expand my game for another great season.
I think athletic ability is an underrated part of your game. Is that something you continue to look in your transition every game, trying to attack more, trying to get more free throws, set the tempo on the offensive end?
Yeah, the most important thing is just being in the weight room, making sure you're in the weight room, getting strong. And I'm in the weight room all the time, so that's why I'm out there, I can be explosive, I can be physical, and I can be explosive. So being in the weight room really implements my game when I get on the court.
Last question, what's your go-to track right now? What's the track you've been bumping and you're vibing with lately?
Go-to track, Hallelujah by Burna Boy, or some 046.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Appreciate it. Kouat. Cheers, man.
So the Kouat effect, I'm sure this season he may be in MVP contention. Of course, the Sharks, I think, will have the record and the win streaks to get that going under coach Shaun Roger. So if Kouat can keep this form up and I think those scoring totals are only going to go up and up. Another player who really stood out in the Bears game we commentated was Luke Jamieson. Now, returning to basketball, thank God, wasted his time in AFL, if you ask me. No offense to AFL, no offense to Luke as well, but he's just such a talent on the basketball court, and we really missed him. Of course, we previously remember him from his time with the Illawarra Hawks, both with the Waratah program back then and the NBL. Was playing 3v3 for a while, and now has come back onto the court, and it's just incredible. I think we saw it in the off-season playing UBL out at Auburn in the Parramatta Wildcats era. Hashtag bring back the Wildcats. Who knows? I'm not too sure. But yeah, with Luke Jamieson, he was tearing up. Like, he was putting up numbers that you wouldn't believe in the UBL. And that was just a bit of a warning sign. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, okay, maybe he'll come back to basketball full time. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. And thank God he did, because he's just got such a silky game. Really, you're kind of conventional. Really exactly what you want out of your small forward, and can play that small ball power forward as well. That shot is just silky from top to bottom, Luke Jamieson, and he gets it up in a hurry, which is really impressive. But also noticed a lot in the Bears game. When the Sharks offense maybe broke down a little bit, Jamison's a guy you can just chuck the ball to, and he can create his own shot. Of course, we saw that incredible buzzer beater against Hills, which is just a great example of the insta bucket he is. So a very useful player to have. Was really chatty out there as well to the opposition, to his own teammates. So seems like a good character to have back in the league, and a great impact for the Sharkies team. An interesting part, though, with all these new players coming into the Sutherland Sharks is what happens to Lachie Hutchinson. And he's still in, I think, the top 5 in voting for MVP. So he hasn't taken a step back in terms of his contribution, but it's more about how he's contributing to the Sharkies. Last few seasons, he's had to be a scorer, especially in that grand final run. He was either their leading scorer or second in scoring. I know you have to check up on that. That was 2 years ago. But now, in this Bears game, notice that he was a lot more of a distributor, and that's natural. That'll happen with so much extra scoring talent out there for the Sutherland Sharks. But I think Lachie Hutchinson can rise to that challenge. He's just a pure point guard and knows how to run an offense. Under new coach Shaun Roger as well, you've probably had to get used to a new system, a new offense to go along with all that new talent. But it was looking great out there for the Southern Sharks, and it has all season. But yeah, just a bit of an adjustment. Although Lachie Hutchinson still is, scoring, averaging 14 points a game, still looking to distribute more out there. And you can see why. There's so many options on the pick and roll with Spurgin, or kicking out to the wings to Noy and Jamieson. But if you wanted one point guard in the league to be running the offense with such a stacked lineup, it'd be Lachie Hutchinson, because also brings it defensively, which is something that I noticed a lot of emphasis on from coach Shaun Roger. The Sharks did not let up all game, and they haven't let up all season defensively. That energy, every play, they're riding the offense and getting up in their grill. And I think that's led by Lachie Hutchinson picking up almost full court every time. And a player to go alongside him, actually, who I was really impressed by defensively, was Bailey MacArthur, averaging 11 points this season. But we'll get back to his offense in just a moment. Bailey MacArthur, underrated defender. He is quick, and he is a bloody pest out there. He moves his feet impeccably, got great technique on those defensive slides. Was getting handsy, getting his hands in there to passing lanes and disrupting the ball handling a bit. And I think that might be an underrated part of the youngsters' game. Of course, playing his high school ball at Trinity, arguably the best program in New South Wales for high school anyway. And he's been lighting it up in CAS, and I think that's starting to convert into NBL1, even at such a young age. He can shoot the ball so well. He's got pure form. And really what you would describe as, sorry to sound old, but like a modern day player, defensively totally locked in, shooting wise, automatic, but can also take him off the dribble as well. I think as he gets used to the size and strength playing out there with grown men, he'll really blossom if he hasn't already, because he looked quite fearless out there. So Bailey MacArthur, preseason there was a lot of hype around him, and I can see why. Was a shame in this game that we commentated going down in the loss that Adrian Cabrerra was out. We're really looking forward to seeing Adrian play. He's a really friendly guy off the court and, always makes time for us, but on the court as well, he's just the ultimate competitor. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits back into the lineup. I think he just had a little niggling injury that he just couldn't quite shake for this game, so nothing too serious because has played a couple games this season, but Adrian Cabrerra is going to be a big X factor for the Sharkies this year because I think he's a very unselfish player. So he can really slot into this lineup, and I think he's not going to demand too many shots, but he'll get out and do the small things like running the fast break, spotting up in the corners, or anywhere on the three-point line, really. He's a great shooter. So I think he's going to be a key to this side. He's just going to unlock all their potential. And I was talking about that Shaun Roger defensive scheme, which I think also Angus Burke had a bit of a part to do with. He was another high-intensity defensive coach. To have either Bailey MacArthur or Cabrerra playing the two, I don't have a preference. They're both just as good as each other. To go with Lachie Hutchinson, a certified defensive guard, it's just going to be really difficult for teams. You bring up the ball, Cabrerra and Hutchinson, MacArthur are going to be hassling you, and then you look into the paint and it's, oh shit, it's Jason Spurgin and Kouat or Jeff Gerlach. Oh, damn. You're not going to get a break if you're the offensive side. Moving on now to Jason Spurgin, far out. This guy's impressive. Didn't have a whole lot of footage to go off for Spurgin, at least from the NBL level. Had a lot of college stuff, but seeing him live, you got to believe the hype on Spurgin. He is just a force in the paint. But I think he has a really good read of the game as well. That's one thing I think maybe that is overlooked about his game because, obviously defensively he's extremely solid, gets after the boards, can run the pick and roll really well, but seems to read the defense quite well. And in this game we saw him just getting a lot of great opportunities, knowing when to roll, knowing when to pop out, which he can do as well. Don't forget, Jason Spurgin can shoot threes here and there. We'll see. Of some middies as well. But as the season goes along, and as they figure out how to get this team playing, as they figure out how to get this team singing from the same song sheet, I think Spurgeon's going to start averaging maybe 20 and 10. I don't know, is that too much to ask for? He's going to have a lot of games where he's going to get those kind of numbers, but he's going to be a double-double every game, already averaging 8 rebounds to go along with 13 points, so almost averaging a double-double. And it's looking like the Sharks have figured it out anyway, at a 4-1 record, and I think this game against the Bears was a bit unlucky for them. Full credit to Tom Garland and the coaching schemes he put in. Managed to shut down the paint really well, so Spurgin didn't really get a whole lot of clean or uncontested looks, but I think he is going to really elevate the Sharks team to the next level because him alongside Jeff Gerlach, who we're going to talk about now, those are two versatile looks you can have at the center position. Jeff Gerlach, he can play. He's a good playmaker. He's a really good playmaker. Running out of those dribble handoffs and those pick and roll situations, Jeff's a willing passer. And I think he's been freed a little bit by not having such big responsibilities this year. With Spurgin there in center, Jeff can kind of roam a little more. Also coming off the bench, so I think he can just come in and contributes really well in those minutes off the bench. There's no reason why he can't complement Jason Spurgin, though, to have those two bigs out there, Gerlach and Spurgin, which would just be a nightmare for the opposition. But we saw that a little bit in this game, but I think North's adjusted and went a little smaller. But looking forward in the season, you never really know what teams are going to run. And, the double big lineup might work really well for them. Say versus a team like the Newcastle Falcons, having those two bigs out there might really help. But that's the beauty of having Jeff Gerlach in there. He's a real team first kind of guy, and he will fit in where needed. So all in all, I got to say Shaun Roger was our pick for Coach of the Year. Sorry to Pete Harak, sorry to Tom Garland, sorry to all the other guys out there, Tim Hudson, some of our favourites. I think already we're seeing the Shaun Roger effect down at the Shark Tank. It's not really an easy task. You think it'd be easy having all this talent on your roster, but getting them to play well together is difficult. But I think in their recruiting, what the Sharks have done really well is they've recruited players who fit well together, who complement each other. So there's not a whole lot of double ups in positions, and that also gives Shaun Roger a lot of different looks offensively and defensively. Moving over to the Sutherland Sharks women now, coming off a grand final last season, which was so well deserved. Was really impressed by the Sharks last year. Everyone had kind of written them off, but I think the culture down there in Sutherland and that playing group is so tight and so dynamic. They have a lot of camaraderie down there, and I think that really lifted them over the edge to becoming that elite team to make the grand final. Not a great start to this season. 1 win, 4 losses. New coach, Jared Wilson, coming in, I think, midway through the preseason. I think may have disrupted things a bit. Of course, no Lauren Nicholson. Congratulations on the baby, by the way, Loz. That's amazing news. Great, a new member of the NBL1 East family. New member of the Sharks family, which is just wonderful to see. But yeah, they've really missed her on the court. Such a big part of this side. But it's not to say that the Southern Sharks team isn't still stacked with talent. And I have a lot of faith that this team will turn it around, because when you go down their roster and you see how they play as well, you realize this is actually a top-class team. This is a quality team. This is a finals team, bare minimum a finals team. I think they were a bit unlucky against the Bears. I mean, it's pretty hard to play the Bears at the Bear Cave. To be honest, the Sharks didn't play that badly. There's just a few things to sort out, but I think their bigs rotation is going to be where they're going to get a lot of success. Starting off with their latest import, Laci Hawthorne. Laci Hawthorne is an interesting import prospect because she is an import. However, she has had 2 seasons of NBL1 experience with the Lakeside Lightning and with, I think it's East Perth, over in NBL1 West. And she had sensational seasons with both those teams, 2 great programs over there in the West. But moving over to Sutherland, I think it's had a bit of a slow start. You can't blame it. You know, it's hard to fit into a new system. It's hard to get used to your new teammates and figure out your role as well. But there is a lot of upside here. I think Laci Hawthorne complements Maddy Norris really well, which we'll just get into in just a moment. But she's more of a conventional big. Is a power forward, but loves to get in those post-ups, loves to pop that midi, and I think is really reliable just down in the low ball because she's very strong as well. So just throw the ball and get out the way, because Laci Hawthorne, I think, can really fill them up from there. Running the lanes as well. Notice her getting out in the fast break a lot. And I think she can elevate her game in just a matter of time to become one of the top players on this side. Averaging 7 points per game already and 4 rebounds. I wouldn't be surprised to see that as a double-double by the end of the season. And to complement Maddy Norris, who's still in sensational form and does it year in, year out, Maddy Norris, I think one of the top players in this league and definitely one of the legends of the Sutherland Sharks club, averaging 17 points this season to go with 6 rebounds. Really hasn't taken a step back from that grand final run last season. I think still has it. That stop and that pop, that flick of the wrist, it's automatic. It's beautiful to see, really, from Maddy Norris. But I think this is where the Sharks have a great opportunity, because Maddy Norris can stretch the floor as a big. In fact, almost prefers to play around the perimeter. Laci Hawthorne likes to be in the post, likes to do the dirty work down there. I think once they get that combination firing, they're really going to start seeing some success. There was glimpses of it in this game against the Bears, and there has been all season. Maddy Norris drifting around the 3-point line, looking for those pick and pop kind of situations with Vanessa Panousis and the other guards of Sutherland, and then Laci Hawthorne in the post-up situation, so more of a pick and roll rather than a pick and pop kind of big. So a lot of good looks there for Coach Jared Wilson, and that is to go along with Liv Douglas, or Liv White, as we remember her. Congratulations. Liv, I think, got married in the off-season. The Southern Districts Rugby Union legend, the Sutherland Sharks legend, really a household name around the Shire, is now Liv Douglas. And that's just another look you can put out there, because you always know what you're going to get with Liv Douglas. You're going to get grit, you're going to get determination, rebounding. It can finish off dump-offs as well in that dunker spot. Can also get in the post and do her work as well. So it gives a lot of different looks for Coach Wilson, whether you want Norris and Hawthorne, whether you want Norris and Douglas, whether you want Hawthorne and Douglas as well. There's plenty of looks out there depending on the game plan you want to try execute. I wouldn't mind seeing Liv White get a few more minutes though. I think didn't play that much in this game against the Bears, but she's such a positive impact and I think quite underrated for this Sharks team. And an underrated part of their championship run last season. She was really the glue that kept the team together and had to do a lot of work in the paint a lot of defensive work, a lot of the dirty work rebounding. Can't underestimate the contribution Liv Douglas makes to this team. Speaking of big contributions, Aliza Fabbro is having a sensational season. She's averaging 18 points per game and looking like she's got a real pep in her step. I think put in a lot of work in the off-season. And with her, I think it's her third season now with the Sharkies, I think is ready to go to a whole new level. The question is going to be how you get the most out of Aliza Fabbro. That three-point shot was looking deadly against the Bears and has all season. But how can you get Aliza Fabbro getting up to about 20 points per game, that 15 to 20 mark, night in, night out? Trying to get a little more off-ball action, so setting a few more off-ball screens, down screens for Fabbro. I think Fabbro works really well off-ball, but maybe you can look to give her a few more ball handling responsibilities and just give her the ball and see what she can do off the dribble. But yeah, super impressed by Aliza Fabbro, the legend from Townsville, from Mighty Townsville. It's just wonderful to have her back for another season with the Sharks and I think contributing night in, night out. And that's when you look down the lineup. This starting five for the Sutherland Sharks on paper is just outstanding. And looking at their point guard now, Vanessa Panousis, back for another season. She's only played, I think, 2 or 3 games now this season and is looking like she hasn't skipped a beat, averaging 15 points per game, averaging 8 rebounds, which is a kind of interesting stat that jumps out, as well as just under 7 assists per game, Vanessa Panousis. We all know what Vanessa can do. We've talked about her plenty on this channel. People have probably followed her career throughout her WNBL days as well, with the Flames and even overseas experience in Europe, but is absolutely lethal offensively. But something I am curious about is that they might want to consider, and look, I'm no coach, I'm no expert, is maybe shifting Vanessa Panousis to the 2 so she doesn't have to do so much ball handling. I think that can really cramp her style sometimes. Is a willing and capable passer and draws a lot of defensive attention, but my suggestion would be, maybe bringing someone like Jordyn Dewhurst in to start at point guard position might help out and get Vanessa Panousis off the ball. I think working off screens, getting those catch and shoot opportunities instead of having to dribble all her way into getting an opportunity. I think if you can shift Vanessa Panousis to the 2 at points in the game, I think that's when you can really unlock her potential, because when she's dribbling the ball up, all the defensive attention is going to be on her, and rightly so. Teams would have done their scouting report. But I think if you can bring someone in like Jordyn Dewhurst, they can really free up Vanessa Panousis. And for Jordyn, a player we have huge raps on and we've really seen come along leaps and bounds. It's been there since day one of NBL1 East with the Sharkies, and season in, season out has just shown so much improvement. But you'd be surprised to know she's still in Youth League. So played every season in NBL1 East, but still Youth League eligible. In this game day against the Bears, the Sharkies girls actually got a narrow win, an overtime win over the North's 2-time champions, Youth League women. And that was mainly thanks to Jordyn Dewhurst and Emily Garland, who we will get to in a moment. But I wouldn't mind seeing Jordyn Dewhurst getting more opportunity to run the offense. We saw last season when Loz Nicholson was running the 1, who's impossible to replace, and Vanessa Panousis was playing the 2. It was super effective for the Sharkies. And I would trust Jordyn Dewhurst now at this point in her career to be very stable running the offense. And wouldn't mind seeing her just get more responsibility, because we all know what she can do. She's a great distributor, but can also space the floor as a very solid shooter as well. Jordyn, and will also hustle on defense, which is exactly what you want out of your point guard. Mentioning Emily Garland just a moment ago, she's a player, I think, who will go to the next level this season. Didn't play in that game against the Bears, but I think played the Friday against the Illawarra Hawks. And I may be wrong, but did play Youth League against the Bears. So for whatever reason, didn't play in the NBL1 squad that day. We're pretty excited to see her because I think her development is coming along so well. As part of the Future Flames program in the preseason. And I think that's just a testament to the hard work that Emily Garland puts in off the court. But she is an all-out shooter and does it with a lot of swagger as well, which is what you appreciate in a young player, but also in your 2 guards, a player who plays with a bit of style and can score in many different ways, but definitely a dead-eye shooter, Emily Garland. And I think we were talking about a little earlier just with the guard rotation. I think if you do have Panousis at the 1, having Garland at the 2 is a great way to space the floor and provide scoring opportunities and cutting lanes for players like Fabbro and like Panousis. But for Emily Garland, we're just excited to see how far she can go, how much her improvement will continue. So there's a lot of talent out there for the Sutherland Sharks, and honestly, I really don't think their record reflects the quality that this side is. Again, with a bit of changing in the off-season and, a new style of play under Coach Wilson, they might still be getting used to it, but I would not be surprised to see the Sutherland Sharks women put in a big run as the season goes along. It's only going to be a matter of time before that form turns around, and watch out. This team's going to be a lot of fun to watch, because when you look at some of these players and you think about when they've really locked in, when you've got your Panousis, Fabbros, Norrises, your Emily Garlands, once they get their eye in, especially from the three-point land, this team can destroy anyone. It's going to be defensively where they're going to have to, I think, improve a little bit, because offensively they can definitely keep up with any team, but putting pressure on the ball, locking down the paint as well, and just making things a little more difficult for the opposition, I think will be very beneficial to them, and they won't have to rely on trying to bail themselves out with home run plays on the offensive end. So it'll lead to fast breaks as well. So yeah, defense wins championships, as they say. And the Sharkies, I think if they can just kick it up a notch a bit defensively, they're going to be one of the top teams in this league. So you've heard it here first, ladies and gents. Do not write off this Sutherland Sharks women's side. That's about all we have time for. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been James, and we'll see you again on 2 Feet in the Paint.